Welcome back to the Stuff Whatever podcast. Your host, B. Quanchi here. And before I get started, I always like to say the best way to support me in the channel is to like, comment, and subscribe, which you can do right here on YouTube. You can follow on Twitter to catch fun tweets and other updates. And also, I've been trying to get a habit of doing a little bit more on Twitter, maybe just like retweeting stuff that I like as well. Because I mentioned before on the channel, a lot of interest in indie games and stuff like that. So like, I'll just give them the tweet as well. So sometimes I like following accounts that kind of have that I don't maybe like a collection or just kind of like that ongoing feed of like stuff that interests me. So I feel like I need to do that more often, just depending on like when I tweet, when I post a video, or go live on Twitch. And that's the last thing is also follow on Twitch if you want to catch live streams as well, all gaming. And those gaming streams do get uploaded right here on YouTube, and you can check that out on the channel. I also get the habit of doing highlights too, which kind of feels more like clips. I call them highlights, but I feel more so clips. But I feel like highlights is kind of a more of a intriguing or attractive like title for it. But yep, and then this clip's also on the Twitch because it's kind of lame on the Twitch channel. Is I'm not even affiliate yet, so I've done over 60 streams. So, but yeah, I appreciate the interactions, follows, whatever, and yeah, that's would be cool. So I got a very special podcast for this week. I wanted to just talk about a little news, more like news that I find interesting, because I saw that I get. It's funny. I feel like I get a lot of my news on Twitter for the most part. Sometimes like on Reddit or whatever if I'm bored and looking stuff up. But I've never seen. I'm not sure if this is still going to be an issue, but there was issues on YouTube with Sonic. I think it's just more fan content, like being flagged for kids, and how that can be a problem for content creators. Is that a lot of times, if content is flagged for kids, I actually can that get monetized or can it run ads? I'm not sure how that works behind the scenes. Especially like I think the lame thing with YouTube that I see a lot is like just because something's animated, like oh it's a cartoon so it's for kids, but a lot of times the content is not for kids. I think somebody pointed out like some of the Sonic fan content has been a little bit more on the adult side, but for some reason like oh it's cartoon so it must be for kids, and it's kind of like that. A few years ago, I'm not sure how far back, but the whole Elsa and Spider-Man videos and stuff like that. Like I feel like it's gonna cause that kind of issue, but also like if you make work really hard on Sonic content, like if you made like a parody cartoon or a fan cartoon, and then it just gets flagged for kids, that's gonna like derail your. I'm pretty sure it would derail monetization. If not, it does disable comments. They can't have the engagement as well. I guess my concern is that going to be other content regarding Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, I said Sonic. It's not like Sonic Burgers, but Sonic Hedgehog. Because there's people who do like reviews, like there was a Sonic movie or Let's Plays of the Sonic games. Because I think it's coming out this year. I know the Netflix Prime. God, what is the Sonic cartoon? Shoot, that's it. Sonic Prime. So when Sonic Prime comes out, are people gonna want to like talk about it or review it, or the new Sonic game, Sonic Frontiers? So I'm not sure if it's gonna be like a huge wet blanket on all Sonic content, or is it just like the fan content? Because I feel like that was a key word, is fan content. So hopefully that doesn't discourage people talking about other Sonic the Hedgehog stuff, whether it be games or cartoons or whatever. So we'll see how that plays out. But I feel that I'm just glad like YouTube's not like my main bread and butter, not even close to be honest. But it'd be sucked to like have the channel like somehow one thing happens and your channel is like derailed to being a kids channel or content for kids, or messes up with your monetization or audience or whatever. So kind of sucks, but I'm not sure if it's as bad as it could be. We'll just have to wait and see. And a little tidbit too. I saw this. I think it's true. I didn't remember seeing it on Twitter, but I guess they're gonna develop a Rick and Morty anime, which might be interesting because I know like they did that a little bit in the last season. I think it was just like the kind of like the anime opening, but like they did. Yeah, they also did all the projects like little shorts or something on Adult Swim, and I think you can watch them on Adult Swim content on the YouTube channel. The content. So they did like 2 or 3 anime like projects or episodes and stuff like that. Some wonder if it's going to be like that. Is it going to expand on that? So we'll wait and see. I'm not sure if it's going to be like, because it could easily say, like, hey, this is like an alternate universe or something like that. So it doesn't have to like really mesh with the story or whatever with the main Rick and Morty series. But I really like it, so I'll be kind of interested to see what that comes up to. Another thing, this I was noticing the other day. I'm not sure if this is what other Amazon drivers do, but I saw like in my apartment complex, I noticed someone like driving up in a regular car. And it was an Amazon. He wore an Amazon vest, and it's like it looked like he was delivering packages. But like, oh, does he live here? Because that's not because I see a bunch of like the Amazon vans as well that deliver stuff all the time. But it looks like he delivered something because I was like out walking my dog, so I had time to kind of like look over and kind of like observe, and then drove away. I'm wondering, like, do you Amazon drivers have to use their own cars sometimes, or does something happen? Because one thing is that the car he had some damage. Like, he obviously got in an accident, like on the passenger front side. There was some damage on the bumper and all that. I could have sworn I seen this guy before in my complex, like delivering packages, actually getting into an Amazon van. So I'm just curious, like, did he like crash an Amazon van and got in trouble, or like, hey, you have to use your vehicle, or I'm not sure how that works. I'm kind of curious because I know they talk about like the drivers and like issues too, like being pressured to go fast, meet schedules, and I'm not sure if it's like still a thing of that story, like drivers using water bottles to pee in and stuff like that. But I'm just kind of curious, like, is the issue like if you're an Amazon driver and you get in a car accident or get speeding tickets, like, do they keep you driving? Do you have to use a different vehicle if it's like an issue with available vans, or do they like, hey, you have to do a different job duty or just get fired? So I'm kind of curious about that too. And then a few things I kind of like ran about in this podcast is earlier I was doing some shopping at Walmart, and I know I feel like Walmart is like a place like trash, but almost everyone shops there. But I was just doing some of my shopping there. I was gonna get shaving cream, and I noticed that not the whole aisle, but the whole shaving goods section is locked up. And it's just annoying because I know they like in the past like just locked up like razors, like the replacement blades, because those can add up to like $20-$30. I think it's just this Walmart, because I'm going to complain about other stuff about it too that might have issues. But the entire thing, like, it's like a can of shaving cream that's less than $2 is locked up, because before it was like a smaller section that was behind glass and locked up. You can easily grab what you want, but it's just so fucking annoying because I don't want to like bug Walmart employee, because it's like one of the things like when you need one to get something that can't find them unless you're in the electronics section, because I feel like they're always good about that. But like if you want to get something that's locked up, it's like annoying trying to track someone down in that section and all that. It's like so I have to get shaving cream somewhere else. And there's other areas of that Walmart that has locked up stuff too. I know they lock up baby formula, and I know right now formula is kind of an issue too because of like production being held and stuff like that. So supplies are kind of iffy with that. But I feel like that was for a long time. Like they had baby formula locked up. I think maybe like laundry soap as well. If not, I thought I remember seeing like they put like the security locks like they put on like DVDs or video games and stuff like that, or some device like that. It's just annoying because you don't want to like bug somebody, or if you have to get unlocked on checkout, you have to use the checkout. Because I always like to use a self checkout because they have the cutest checkout guy there. Again, it's self checkout. So, but the last annoying thing is they have all the alcohol, not all the alcohol, just all the like spirits or hard alcohol. Like if you want to get beer or wine, it's like in the regular section that you can just grab and go. Of course, like if you go to self checkout, they have to like verify you. Like it, does annoying thing like, hey, this guy needs help, and that's why I always hate about Walmart and self checkout is if you have to buy stuff that's over age or stuff like that. But they moved all the alcohol stuff, like that's not beer and wine, that's like Jack and Daniels or vodka, whatever, to one checkout lane, and it's like behind glass, so you have to go to that checkout clerk. It's like, hey, I want this and stuff, and they have to grab it for you. So that's kind of annoying. And I know I've been to other Walmarts that don't have that. Like I swear, seeing like, hey, I can get this bottle of vodka because it had like on an end cap at another Walmart. So I'm not sure why I keep going to this one, but I guess it's because it's the closest one. That I just find that annoying when you have to if you want to buy something, but then you have to bug somebody like no one around to unlock the thing for you. Especially if it's like a fucking can of shaving cream that's less than $2. That's my little rant about Walmart. And then one thing I wanted to also kind of rant about a little bit is Hulu. Well, most well Hulu ads because I don't have like all the streaming services or the ones a good chunk of them I don't have ads for. I think it's just Netflix and HBO Max, but Hulu I have ads for, and I'm not sure if it's like a scheme so they can get people to pay for the ad-free version. But I swear to God, every time an ad pops up when watching Hulu, the volume's like 2 or 3 times more. So I'm like playing around with the volume, and it's so annoying. Like I just wish because I thought there was like laws about that when it comes to like commercial. I'm not sure if that's just for broadcast TV or something like that, but ads are just like so loud compared to the actual program you're watching, whether it be on Hulu or whatever. And the thing about that is that whenever I hear those loud ads, wherever the ad is, it just makes me immediately hate that product or service. Like I don't know, I know people hate like ads versus like there's ads everywhere, like on apps or YouTube, and I have ads on his YouTube channel, so don't. Okay, yeah, but yeah, like ads so many being bombarded with ads all the time, and then when you go on Hulu, at least if you have the ad version, ads are like so loud, and this again makes me immediately hate the product or whatever that's being advertised. And like, I just wish they would do something or have like laws like, hey, you can't. It only has to be a certain volume. Although there can be issues, like if there's a program with the volume mixing these kind of off and all that, are not consistent. But I'm sure they can have checks and balances and stuff like that. But main point, Hulu, your fucking ads are too loud. Again, I think that's a scheme just to get people to buy the ad-free membership, but whatever. And now I wanted to talk about a weird dream I have. It's kind of weird because I don't have like too many dreams that I really remember vividly, or at least remember at all. And I want to talk about old dream as well, but I just had this dream, I think the beginning of the week or last week, but it was just weird because I don't have like crazy dreams that like, oh, I'm another planet or these talking animals or anything crazy. Like, so I always feel like grounded in reality. So I think that's why a lot of my dreams are kind of forgettable. But basically, the dream, like, you hear a knock on my door and I open it, and it's like a UPS driver, and there's like so many different packages being dropped off my porch. Like, what is this? I didn't order anything and all that. And the weird thing is that the delivery driver, like, it was like a greenish brown, ugly greenish brown uniform, so it wasn't actually UPS. So I was like making that connection. And all that, and the guy kind of like looks at me and then kind of like steps forward and kind of bumps in, like starts walking to my apartment and like, whoa, red flag, like, hey, don't get in my apartment, like, don't, what the fuck are you doing in my place? And like, and then he was like said, I'm gonna be careful because I know sometimes with certain words on YouTube are like no words, but he was gonna force himself on me sexually. The word rhymes with grape, like grape soda. It's like, I'm gonna grape you, and like, and they're like, what? And then can like back me in a corner, and it's like kind of weird, kind of like, because I never, to be honest, I never got in a fight ever, but it's kind of like a weird lame fight, like kind of like trying to fight him off, and I guess he wasn't that much of a person. I just also remember there were like a lot of people, like neighbors or whatever, like outside the apartment, like as he was at the beginning, like as he was loading all these packages. So I know there was a lot of witnesses outside, but he's kind of like walked in and would try to force himself on me. And then I, for some reason, have the strength to get him in a chokehold and stuff like that. So like chokehold him and like pass him out that way. So he passes out cold. Pretty impressive because I had never done that either. It's like, oh, got outside of relief, and then I called the cops and like, hey, this guy came into my place, tried to, you know what, me, all that. And then my next thought, like, okay, I don't want this guy in my apartment, so I just want to drag him out. So I drag him out the apartment, and there's still a lot of like witnesses or whatever. And it's like weird with dreams because when there's like people in the dreams, you may not even recognize them. Like, I don't remember them being like neighbors or anyone I really know, so that felt kind of weird. And I see kind of like walking around the corner, and like two people in uniform that look like cops' uniform, but feel like knockoff cops. So they like come and they pick up this guy that I knocked out, and it kind of like, it's like they sound call on radio like, we got our leader or something like that. Like basically it was like a rescue mission. Like these guys as cops as a rescue mission. So it got that weird like those are his people trying to extract him and get him to safety or something like that. I think I didn't care too much because like as long as he like gone and it's like I'm not really being punished. Like they're not like trying to get the revenge for fighting him off or anything like that. So like, they kind of walk away and kind of like walk around to kind of notice because the street is around a corner because I was seeing where they were taking him. And they load him into the truck, but this is the weird thing about the dream too is the truck was like a utility truck for a cable internet install servicer, whatever. It's called Cox Cable Internet here, but it's like the truck that had like the little what you want to call it, the little lift thing on the back of the truck where they can get to the power line. So it was like that kind of truck, but it clearly had the Cox logo on it, and like went into that vehicle and kind of drove off with him. Like, okay, and that was my weird dream, and that's probably the most recent dream I had, at least that I can remember as well. But I also want to talk about an older dream as well, because this is a long time ago when I was back in college. Because I mentioned it's on an old podcast, but no one listens. But I basically went to like a gamer school for game design. And basically what they had, because it was like a trade school, they didn't have like dorms, but they had a program where they would have like students go get apartments. Like I guess they took care of like the lease and stuff like that, but as long as you pay your rent, that's fine. But we lived in apartments, like 2-bedroom apartments, like 2 per bedroom. So it's kind of like a dorm, but probably more better because it was like an actual apartment, even though you share a room with somebody, which would have been the case anyway if you had a dorm. But anyways, I had this dream like I was in my bed and was like woke up, but I had like sleep paralysis. So something I would like paralyzed and like eyes wide open and like can't move, can't speak and stuff. And then like my roommates noticed that, like, oh, he can't move, like he's like paralyzed or something. And like, what? Let's go piss on him. So my roommates like all together just fucking piss on me while I'm like paralyzed, and they were aware that I was paralyzed and conscious, even because I felt like I can move my eyes, but they're like, let's go piss on him just to be funny. And it's kind of like weird because I didn't like I never seen the junk, and it's not like I saw it in the dream. But this is that we were getting pissed on by roommates, and that was pretty good. It's just like a simple dream, but ever had those for like weird dreams where it's like something happens and it involves like maybe like a boyfriend, girlfriend, brother, sister, stuff like that, and they like do something messed up, and like you wake up, and even though you know it's a dream, it's like you fucking did that to me. Like I was very tempted to like be like, dude, you guys fucking like when I looked at my roommate, he fucking pissed on me, even though it wasn't real, wasn't a dream. It was a dream, but just kind of have that feeling like, okay, that wasn't real, but I have this like this angry like almost like an angry grudge because it almost felt real. But of course, I never said anything there because that would be kind of crazy. It's like, hey, you guys pissed on me in a dream and stuff like that. Like, apologize for it. Because I think, honestly, this is my first time actually talking about it. So that is kind of funny, kind of weird, whatever. And one thing I wanted to talk about this podcast, just because it's been on my mind a little bit, because I talked about it before, like, when it comes to minimum wage, when it comes to rent, when it comes to cost of living, like, I'm a strong proponent, whatever supporter that, hey, people need livable wages and stuff like that. And some things like I feel like a lot of focus is on just on minimum wage, but I feel like there's more important stuff too, or stuff that's as important. And I don't feel like enough people talk about rent. I know I talked about on the other podcast too, that rent went up, got crazy here in Arizona, but at least I can still get by. But sometimes like I get to like to a point like, hey, I was pretty comfortable, but now it's like like if it gets much higher, I would have to like really cut down stuff or whatever. But I don't know, I feel like there should be laws maybe like for the whole country, if not more so in the states, like for rent control, because I just feel like I think that one thing that really gets to me is I feel like the rent I'm paying is not worth the living conditions and stuff like that. It's not like I live in a crappy apartment or anything like that, but I just feel like, hey, I don't feel like this is justified or whatever. And I think that what also gets to me because like the cost of rent is like more than a mortgage that's the case. But lately I haven't compared, but it feels like, God, if I can afford a down payment to get maybe even like a condo, just like a property I own, because that's one thing. I feel like rent is bullshit in a sense that it doesn't really mean much. That just means you don't get kicked out of your home. But like when you pay a mortgage, that goes towards your equity, that goes towards your investment and stuff like that. But when you're paying rent, it's like, okay, that money's gone, but you can still stay for a month. I feel like they should have laws in place to have like rent be something you can deduct from taxes or something like that. Although that would cause a lot of issues too. So I think that would cause a lot of work for everyone. Just because I wonder the statistics of all that, like how many people rent versus own a home. But yeah, that's one thing. It just always gets me too. Like, there's got to be a point that like rent can only go too high. It makes me think of the musical Rent, but I don't know, maybe I have to rewatch it. It's not the best musical out there, but I kind of feel like it's hitting home in a sense. And yeah, it's like living costs as well, especially like gas prices. Am I right? Because and yeah, I know that the president has nothing to do with gas prices, anything like that. I feel like a lot of people like blame or thank the president for gas prices. Like, oh, when Trump was president, the gas prices were this, but now Biden, and blah blah blah. But yeah, he doesn't really have any control of that. But I wish there was something in place, like when it comes to goods that are, I would say, economically essential. They should have like something to curb because, hey, it does affect the economy if people have to spend more and more. I'm kind of curious if that's also, I know with recent events too, like with Russia, that it's a little bit more than I can really go over because I'm not the most knowledgeable person about it, but with Russia or like how we get our gas and oil and stuff like that. But for the past couple of years, like during the height of the pandemic, a lot of people were forced to work from home and a lot of people weren't going out. So I think also part of that is more people are driving, more people on the road. So I'm wondering if that's causing a lot of spikes with supply and demand. But I still think it's kind of messed up as well when it comes to, hey, you raised the minimum wage, but now that your wage went up like $1 or so an hour, rent got jacked up, cost of living got jacked up, your gas prices got jacked up. Yeah, so everything's kind of fucked up. It could be worse, it could be better, because, I don't know, it just feels like I'm lucky I'm not, like, at bare minimum wage, or at least to have a full 40 hours and stuff like that. And one last thing I also want to talk about when it comes to money is work benefits with sick pay. Because I'm not sure if, like, every state has laws. I know Arizona, I don't mention it too much, but yeah, I live in Arizona. And laws about sick pay, like if you work so many hours, you're entitled to sick pay and all that. And the reason I think that's important is not just because, like, hey, you can get time off if you need it or whatever, but if you're legitimately sick, like, you can take a sick day and stay home, especially if you might be contagious, because that's kind of still a hot button issue when it comes to like COVID and stuff like that too. But like if people like are not even making a livable wage, barely getting hours, and then they become sick, like let's say with like flu or whatever, and they're gonna like drag themselves to work because they feel like, okay, I can't afford to miss a day, so I'd rather push it and go to work even though I'm not feeling good, even if I may cause other people to get sick. Because hey, I need those hours. Hey, I need that pay. I need that paycheck. And what if that caused a lot of issues with the height of the pandemic too, like when it really started to go bad? Which is kind of weird. I haven't been following as much lately, so I'm not sure if we're like out of it or if we're still as bad. But I don't know. I guess that's a little bad on me for not focusing too much on the news. But that doesn't feel like people concerned about, oh, you know, wear a face mask and I think that's going to go out the window eventually. It's been pretty much out the window. Like people stop wearing the mask. But I think maybe the hand sanitizing and stuff like that has been kind of sticking with us. But I think just having people have the security, like, hey, if I'm feeling really sick, I can stay home, take a sick day included. Because with sick pay and pay time off, some people can abuse it and it's like take days off just because they want to. But I think it's just important to like have, especially lower class workers, which I feel like I'm falling into again without everything spiking up. But just having that security, like, hey, I can rest, I can focus on getting better, and not worry about losing a chunk of this month income because I have the flu or whatever. Because people look like, oh, these people shouldn't get paid more to make a cup of coffee or make a sandwich or something like that. But if that person's handing you coffee in the contagious and you get sick, I don't care who the fuck you are. That's still not great, and these people deserve better. Also, focusing more on money things this podcast, I just want to talk about a little bit of YouTube, a tiny bit, because honestly, like anyone's watching or follow the channel, there's ads, so I do get monetization on YouTube, which has been okay. Like, to be honest, to be transparent, I don't want to get like specifics, but the most I made last year was barely enough to make a car payment, so that's the status of the channel. But it's nice that most videos on the channel are monetized or greenlit, because then a lot of channels get issues with being demonetized or things like that. I wonder if it's just because it's being more views, more of a bigger channel, if people like spam and report them and stuff like that. Because I feel like sometimes like my swearing, especially with some of the gaming streams, which you can check this out, but I feel like sometimes I'm guilty of like swearing a lot or whatever, but never had issues. I think a few times was just because of content ID. Nothing bad. I feel like one just like say, hey, can't monetize this video, which I get, because I think it was the gameplay video of Geometry Dash, just because I want to make a little that on channel. Because I like the gameplay videos I do, just because like, hey, this game exists, this is how it plays. So and that one's more music focused. I get it. And some are like shared, or whatever. The only one that really got to me was like on a stream. I was checking out a video on a Steam page for this game. I guess the trailer picked up a song, and instead of saying, hey, it's shared or whatever, they're like, no, you cannot monetize on it. Like, it got red. Like, no, like, penalties besides not monetized. But YouTube had a little tool to clip it out or mute it and stuff like that. But it gets annoying because I see that on channel. Like, I'm a big fan of Meat Canyon. I guess his Family Guy video got claimed because of the Surfing Bird song. I feel like all the bullshit with it, a lot of people abuse it, is that they don't own the content, but they say they do, so they can like fuck with videos or at least take the money and stuff. Because I think if you like say, hey, this is my song, even if it's a few seconds video, like I should get the monetization. So I'm not sure how it works, and I know from what I hear, like dealing with YouTube is pretty messed up or like not as helpful. Stuff like that. Because I think this was a while back, like someone had like an anime music channel and they said that they owned the music. Someone had like a clip of a song from like an anime opening or something like that, they would get copyright strict to hell. Even though the person who had it set up, I think it's like automatic too, like a lot of bots, like if you put that in, like, hey, I own this, even though you don't, then the bots will claim and you have disputed or getting manually reviewed, which is a huge hassle. And all that. So that's the only like monetization I had with YouTube. Is like some things somewhat understandable, but for the most part. But also I feel like if you're like a good boy, I feel like, because when you upload a video, you can say, hey, this is ad friendly or whatever. And I think if it's consistent, like they even have a message like, good news, you've been consistent with being ad friendly or whatever. So I think if a YouTube channel is kind of more offending in a sense, maybe YouTube gets more stricter on them or cracks down. But it could be the channel size, it could be the viewership or whatever. But I don't want an issue. But that's pretty much if any income I make from this whole whatever I'm doing, throwing spaghetti at the walls with the YouTube videos and streams. But I do have set up on Twitch to do donations, which I never had a donation ever. So if someone's listening at this point, just keep that in mind. But who knows? Maybe that will click one day. But over 60 streams. But I'm having fun with that as well. So definitely check that out. Okay, and then let's finish up the stream. I'm going to bring up back this segment, the whatever reports, or going some weird news that I find online. Mostly I've been going to Reddit. And I'm just going to shout it out. I feel like Offbeat is one I go to a lot. But I also I'm following news that are weird. So I think that's where I get a lot of these stories too. But let's go with the first story. This happened in Italy, that a Florence coffee bar got charged a fine because a customer complained that the price wasn't displayed behind the counter. And this is pretty messed up too, because it's like a small business coffee bar. But the coffee bar being, I believe it's euros. I'm not familiar with the currency in terms of the symbols. But they're being fined €1,000 because the customer got pissed off because they ordered a cup of espresso, which was €2, and he complained that it wasn't displayed. And in the article, like they defended saying that it's on the digital menus, but they didn't have it displayed like at the physically, like at the bar counter and stuff like that. And that's annoying. Like if you're, I would say this guy who wrote this complaint is a huge douchebag. Like it's a small business, looking at the article, that's like not that's kind of like a higher end for coffee. Like they said, the average cost is €1 or €2. That's not too bad. But the worst part about this guy that makes him a huge asshole, it was decaf coffee. So fuck him. The only thing I can say, like, hey, like if your business, especially if you're selling like menu items, have a menu, have a price. Like I get like a little OCD about that, like having everything in order. So I don't know why they didn't have like a menu or pricing at the physical bar, whether it be at the counter, like on a board behind the counter, stuff like that. Like have that shit managed. So the less some people can bitch about, the better. But the guy who did the original complaint, like fuck him. But yeah, I saw like the post like asking for donations too. That's effective. Like some pissy customer fucks you over and you go online asking for donations to help cover that fine. I'm not sure how much that translates to US dollars, but €1,000, again, if I'm reading that correctly. So this next story is about kids using phones. And this is kind of a funny one. This happened in Texas, I think in, what did it say? In Kingsville. But basically, mother, the 2-year-old son was playing with the phone, like playing with the camera, and all of a sudden, like a little bit later, the phone gets a message that a DoorDash driver was being late because the order was so big. It turns out the kid ordered 31 cheeseburgers from McDonald's and all that. So that's kind of funny. It could be worse. Like I was looking through the article, and I guess the mother like gave the son one burger, but then they like made a little post on Facebook, like, hey, we're giving out free burgers, so they just kind of like ate the cost. Although sometimes that can be kind of an issue if you have like an unexpected expense, because it said the order came to like $91, but also the driver got like a $16 tip, so good on the driver. At least this little kid is good at tipping the driver. But yeah, kind of a funny story. Like, I'm sure you can kind of like complain and see if you can get like a credit refund, but she's like, oh, I'll just give it away to my neighbors in the area and stuff like that. So that's kind of a funny way to look at it. Cause like someone said, like one time the daughter accidentally ordered like 3 iPhones from Amazon. So yikes. And I'm glad I don't have kids. I'm probably never, well, I say probably, but I'm never ever going to have kids. But I think if you have kids, if you have them mess with a phone, like don't. Stuff like that, just because of, you can always lock the phone, but if you give the kid a phone that's active, like what you can do is like if you replace your phone and your old phone is still like usable, like you were just upgrading, like have that around so the kid can like fuck with it. I think that's what my brother does for like his daughter or something like that. Like they can play with like a phone that doesn't have service, like they want to play with games or whatever. But yeah, that's a lot of cheeseburgers. Next, this has been happening in Mesa, Arizona. So basically some garbage trucks have been catching fire because of dangerous conditions with like people throwing away stuff that they're not supposed to. So I guess it's kind of a PSA saying, hey, don't throw these kind of craps away. But this article is saying like it's been like 6 garbage truck fires in the last 2 months because people are throwing away hazardous materials in the trash. And I think it comes from things like batteries, from aerosol cans to pool chemicals, propane gas. People throwing away propane gas tanks. I'm not sure if that caused a fire, but the article like lists like stuff that you should like properly dispose of, and have like articles and resources. So just be careful. Like some of that kind of stuff can cause explosions. The article's pretty like short and sweet, so it's not. I don't think anyone really got hurt. But there's like places where you can like dispose of that. I think like don't throw your propane tank into the dumpster or whatever. I think maybe part of that too is because it's getting hot in Arizona as the temperature is going up. Even though it's technically spring, it's practically summer. But yeah, this kind of PSA, like watch what you throw away and be careful because that can maybe even really hurt somebody. Okay, and then for the next story, this is kind of a what the fuck story. Let me see what this happened. It said Bay Area, so I think that's in California. Santa Clara, that sounds like California to me. But yeah, basically, an officer was there was a couple officers like responding to a domestic violence call, but one of these officers was actually masturbating in front of the family. I guess they like was saying accounts in the story that he seemed to be more interested in like the daughter, who I think was like 23 years old, I believe, her age. So at least it's someone of age. But I guess like he was kind of walking around like investigating the place and like masturbating to the point that we're reporting that his dick was actually exposed and all that. And I know what the fuck's going on with you. It's like a domestic dispute or something. I'm not sure how crazy it is, but I guess he's found a daughter hard and was like touching himself and all that. And it said something about like I know with these articles you never really find out like what happens when it comes to like misconduct and this kind of fucked up stuff, but I guess like put on administrative leave, so we're not sure how much the consequences are. But that's just fucked up. Like don't get the mindset of like what's wrong with you that you have to do that in front of people. Although Louis C.K. did that, and guess what? He got a Grammy for it. Well, he didn't get a Grammy for it, but that was kind of a joke that he can at least bounce back from that cancer, but cancel culture of it, good or bad. But that made me kind of think about that too. And this last story actually takes place in India, where a couple is looking to sue the son for not giving them grandchildren. I'm not sure if this is because of the culture and stuff like that too, like the emphasis of having kids, like getting married, having kids. According to articles, like I said, it's 50 million Indian rupees, which is $643,000, so over $500,000. Because the son has been married for, was it like 6 years? I was kind of glimmering through this article earlier, and still not had a child of their own. And also, this guy's the only child, so he doesn't have any siblings to give them grandchildren as well. It's funny to list it as damages for not having kids. I'm not sure if it's going to fly, but I'm not sure how it's like in India with the culture. Like the article said, like, oh, we raised him, educate him, and stuff like that. Like the expense of raising a kid. But then if you raise a kid and it's expensive, like think of like the next kid and all that. And then talked about like there's kids in the neighborhoods and they should have one too. Which I think it's messed up. Again, not knowing the culture and all that, I think it's messed up to really be pushy about your children having kids, especially some people just don't want kids and all that. So I was just kind of looking through it, and it said like also they helped paid for the honeymoon, like even bought them a car or stuff like that too. And I personally don't think that entitles you to have a grandkid and then produce a baby and all that. And what in case like what they find out like they can't have kids, like if the woman's like barren or has issues or with reproductive wise, or if the husband has issues reproductive wise, like what if they can't produce kids, or where they have to adopt, or I'm not sure how it works in India. But one kind of interesting thing I learned about this article too is they say that sometimes like a parents can claim allowance from adult children under federal law. Like it gets us to protect parents and senior citizens who may not be able to take care of themselves, but they can like legally claim an allowance from the adult children. And I think that's really weird to me too. Like I can't imagine like my mom or dad like hitting me up for money, or to the point that they get the government involved and I'm forced to give my parents money. Although I do have a lot of brothers and sisters too, so we can chip in if that was the case. Actually, funny story. Well, not really funny, but just a fun story. Is that since Mother's Day was recently, we chipped in to get my mom a new washer and dryer, since it's been a while and she was having so much issues with her, so we did that too. So I'm not paying my mom allowance, but I did help chip in to get a new washer and dryer. That was pretty fun too. So yeah, and that will do it for the podcast. So hopefully this was entertaining. I had a fun recording it. So who knows down the road, but maybe this will be the next hit podcast, or at least people can follow me on Twitch and I can be affiliate eventually. As sad as it sounds, but yeah. Again, Be Quanchi on all social medias. Those links are in the description as well as the battle on the channel, so pretty easy to find. I have some ideas I'm thinking about to kind of like freshen things up and doing more on the channel. We'll just kind of wait and see. But if you're listening, I hope you have a great day and thanks for checking in. Until next time.